From Fox 8 Sports, this is the Overtime Podcast.
From the Fox 8 studios in New Orleans is the Fox 8 Overtime Podcast. I'm Vasilios. That is Sean Fazende. Remember to like, subscribe, rate, and review. You guys can find us wherever you listen to and watch your podcast. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit the little bell notification button. You get an update every time we upload a new podcast. Sean, it is good to be back.
Good to be back, Vasilios. We didn't know how to work this thing here. We didn't know how to work these things here, so we did it old school. Put some old school lavalier mics on, Madeline and myself, and got through the Monday podcast without you. But glad you were able to make it back. Didn't want to see you get Wally pipped, bro. So it's good to be back. Good to have you there in that chair. I know you had some questionable
gastrointestinal issues.
Yeah, let's just put it that way. And looks like you got everything out that you need to get out. Now you're back, ready to roll here on this pod. But like you said, like, share, rate, review, comment, please. I know you guys left a lot of comments on the last one. I didn't get a chance to look at any of them because we've been really busy. But keep on subscribing, keep on liking, keep on sharing, keep on agreeing and disagreeing, and we'll keep on bringing you that content. So Wednesday, a big day in the preparation for the Panthers this week.
All right, so it's Wednesday, like you said, and, you know, today is the day the Saints usually have their quarterback speak. And speaking of quarterbacks, Derek Carr, what's his status in this midweek moment here, Sean?
Well, it was the main reason why I went out to practice today. I wanted to see with my own eyes what Derek Carr would be doing. Would he be present? He was there, and he looked to me like he was doing everything he would normally do in any other practice. He was in line. He was stretching. He was going back, doing the drills with the running backs, the drills with the receivers that we're allowed to see. Looked like he had it's hard to read body language from a distance, but it looked like he was kind of in a little bit of a determined kind of mindset, almost like, guys, I'm healthy and I'm here. So if there were any thoughts of him basically, viewing this as, this is one, I probably need to let my body recover, let the concussion recover, and just sit this one out. Doesn't look like that's going to be the case, at least in his preparation, because he was there and he was doing all the work officially limited at practice. So this dude looks like he is preparing like he is going to play. And I know that's a surprise to a lot of people. Everyone would assume that because he got the concussion and he was knocked out, that a week later, the second concussion in the month, that he would not be back on the practice field. But 3 days later, there he was. I guess you're going to have to pull him off the field if you're the Saints, medically or from a production standpoint. So it's starting to feel like he wants to play and he's going to do everything he can to play. And there is nothing wrong with the shoulder and there's nothing wrong with the rib. It's just a concussion. Concussions are nothing to play with, but it feels like he's inching closer and closer to getting back on the field. And I got to say, if he gets back on the field with the same focus and determination and body language that he had after he got relentlessly booed, which you weren't here for this pod, but relentlessly booed by the fan base, and he turned it on. If he starts the next game and he starts that game the way he finished the previous game,
15 straight completions,
then
right?
Yeah. I counted 14 and 15, but I know it was 15 straight. DA said 13 straight. Regardless, he was on fire. May have been his best stretch as a Saint. And whether or not he was motivated, he got the chip on the shoulder, got angry, whatever the case may be, it worked. He needs to keep it if he is able to go. If they can't go, it will be Jameis Winston. And we'll see how it plays out, because this is obviously a huge game for the Saints. But the biggest question was Derek Carr's status, and leading up to this week, or leading up to this practice, I think most people reasonably assume that he was a long shot this week. After what I saw today, that looked like a guy that wants to play the game, and medically and or coaches will have to pull him off the field. So we'll see. And it certainly feels like if he wants to play and he's cleared to play, the Saints would probably let him play, because, as I said, he kind of turned it on before he got knocked out of that game.
All right, so big picture, Sean, and this is the second, or this is only the Saints have faced each of their NFC South opponents once this season already. This is going to be the second time they've seen the Panthers. This time at the Superdome, big picture, what are the Saints preps look like heading into this game?
Okay. They play the Panthers. The Panthers are 1-11, worst team in the NFL, look like the worst team in the NFL, playing like the worst team in the NFL, fired their coach a couple of weeks ago. We've used the term must win, but I would characterize this as bigger than must win. Bigger than must win for the circumstances I just laid out for you. Because I believe, given the state of this franchise, the state of the season, the state of the recent what have you done for me lately activity of this organization, top to bottom, I think if you don't win this game, it's not just some sort of, putting you back in the playoff standings. I think if you don't win this game, someone's on the chopping block. I think it's that serious. I think if you do not win against Carolina at home, the worst team in the NFL, a team in shambles, I think it's someone's got to go kind of Sunday. So someone either gets fired, someone gets demoted, someone gets cut, someone gets benched. Some form of significant move would have to happen if they were to lose against the Carolina Panthers. That's how real the stakes are here. Let me rephrase that. That's how real the stakes should be this week in this game. There's got to be some form of urgency and desperation and reality and the realization that if the job does not get done, there will be major accountability that cannot wait till the end of the season. So it's a must-win playoff-wise because if you fall to 5-8, you're really starting to slip.
Yep.
But to me, it's also bigger than must-win in terms of jobs would be on the line. Big things could happen. Big changes could happen if you're not able to beat a struggling Panthers team who showed a little bit of life last week, but they still lost to Tampa Bay. They're in, I call it the interim window, where the interim energy, where sometimes the newness of a situation, you get a little jump up in energy. And Saints have got to be prepared for that, and the Saints have got to be ready for that. But regardless of any factor, if you don't get the win, I think that's going to cost someone their job in some form or fashion, whether it's head coach, coordinator, major starter, something. I think that's how real the stakes need to be on Sunday. That, to me, is the big picture as the Saints prep for Carolina on Sunday. And let me just say, I was at practice. I was in the locker room. I think they get it. I hate saying that because I kind of felt that last week and they looked terrible.
I feel like
I feel like maybe
we say that a lot.
Maybe it was a little different this week. I don't. You know what? Take that for what you think because I've been so wrong on that. But it felt a little different. We'll get to that in a second. But I think that's where the stakes are, and not just. I hope that's where the stakes are. Mm-hmm. That's where the stakes should be. Because you have two very winnable games, and we said 7-7 after this homestand. That's what we said. Losing to Detroit was it's not an embarrassment to lose to Detroit.
It was almost expected.
It was expected, but come out down 21-0 the first 6.5 minutes of the game with a sea of blue in the stands. You missed all this last Monday in the podcast, but it was a picture that we had never seen before, and it was such an in-your-face, holy cow reality check that I think that has to get everyone's attention, and it has to translate into your work week and your level of urgency / desperation and in your preparation for a team that you have to beat. You have to beat the Carolina Panthers on Sunday.
So it's safe to say the Saints, based on the records, should win this game. So to that point, who gives them the best chance to win this game?
What are you talking about in terms of
just who are you looking at on this team right now that can lead them to victory?
Okay. Well, first off,
Derek Carr starts off the way he ended last week. Maybe it's him, but
maybe
we
it's
saw
him.
Taysom, Olave.
This team, but Carolina doesn't score. They don't score the ball. They're terrible on offense. So you don't need a lot offensively. And let me just say this: I don't care how you get the win. If you win 9-6, I don't care. Do it. I mean, at this point, if we talked about style points like 6 podcasts ago.
Yeah,
if you're still waiting for style points,
wrong decade.
So to me, it don't matter. But the fact that they can't score, and you've played them before, and you know them, like you should be able to do enough offensively to win this game. But and you're going to get to this in a second. They're banged up on offense with some key players. So that's certainly something to watch going forward. And they've been such a slow starting team that you just don't know how it's going to go and what the first, quarter and a half is going to look like.
So you talked a little bit ago about the vibes and how they seem like they got it this time. What makes this week's vibe different than last week's? Then we're going to go over the injury report too in a second.
Well, why don't you read off the injury report real quick? Because it's a long list of names.
It is a long list.
This is really starting to catch up. What the Saints had all last year, it's starting to really catch up. The law of averages are catching up for the injury department for the Saints because the names are getting longer and longer.
All right, so
13 names, I think.
13, yeah. First, we got Isaiah Foskey, did not practice with the quad. Taysom Hill did not practice foot, left hand. Interesting combination. Anyway, Cam Jordan, ankle, DNP. Marcus May, shoulder, DNP.
Went on IR.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry, I forgot that transaction. Then we had Kendre Miller, ankle, DNP. Malcolm Roach, knee, DNP. I think he also got put on IR. Was it just
Malcolm Roach is on IR? That's correct.
Rashid Shaheed, thigh, DNP. And then here we get into the limiteds. Derek Carr, limited, concussion, rib, right shoulder. Jimmy Graham, rest day, limited. Juwan Johnson, quad, limited. Eric McCoy, shoulder, limited. Andrus Peat, shoulder, limited. Ryan Ramczyk, rest day, knee, limited. Pete Werner, shoulder, oblique, limited. And Blake Grupe was a full go at practice.
A lot of names. And then the biggest name to me stood out there when you talked about that interesting combination, Taysom Hill. If he can't go, your security blanket on offense goes away. The guy you lean on when times are tough, the guy you lean on when it was 21-0 to give you that spark, if he can't go, that's something to really watch in this game. Because when you asked, who should or shouldn't be, how do they get the win? If they don't have Taysom Hill, they're got to find another way. So I want to see them run the football with running backs better. We've seen nothing out of Jamal Williams, nothing out of anyone behind Alvin Kamara. The only ones that run the ball, Alvin and Taysom. And they found a little rhythm in the passing game. Hopefully that can continue. But Carolina has a very good defense, top 5 passing defense. So anyway, back to the topic at hand when it comes to Wednesday vibes. It was just a very active locker room in there today. A lot of players willing to talk. A lot of players willing to answer questions about the current situation that they're in. They talked about the booing. They talked about the booing directed at Derek Carr. They talked about Alvin Kamara talked for quite a while today. He was in a very talkative mood, talked about how he'd never seen a situation like he saw Sunday. I completely agree. I've been coming to games since I was a kid. I have never seen that many visiting teams, fans, inside the Superdome. So the Wednesday vibes are, you better understand the situation. Now, I guess what I picked up on is there's no sense of denial. And I think I've said that a couple times too. But that could just mean they're saying the right things. I truly hope in the actions throughout the week and into Sunday, there is an urgency. And sometimes I need to see it right away. This is a game where I want to see a fast start. I want to see some kind of life right away. I want to see some kind of energy right away. I want to see some kind of feeling of in control of the game right away. The last 3 games they've lost, they've all deserved to lose. In every game they've won, they've deserved to win the game. The only one they didn't lose, they lost, they probably deserved to win was the Green Bay game. Other than that, every other outcome was exactly the way the game played out. I want to see the Saints take control of the game, even if it's close. I want to see them take control of the game. So what are the Wednesday vibes? The Wednesday vibes are that. Practice it seemed pretty deliberate. The body language, like there was something about the way Derek was running between drills that it caught my eye. Again, I don't know if it's I'm just focused, I'm determined, or if it's hey guys, I'm here, I'm healthy kind of thing. I don't know. Some other people that were out there said he was kind of favoring, the rib a little bit. I don't know. I didn't necessarily view that. I didn't see that. But the stakes are what the stakes are, and they're as high as ever. And fortunately, you've been dealt a pretty good hand with the rest of the schedule. It is possible that they win out. It really is. They have a chance to win every game going forward. But you got to start with one. And this one has to be the most important game of your life. And the interaction we had in the locker room today, I didn't leave with the, oh, this team's clueless vibe. I left with a, okay, I think they generally understand the situation that they're in. And they don't want to be booed in their home stadium anymore. If that's the thing that motivates them, so be it. Fans, you did your job. If that's the thing that motivates them, because a lot of players were asked about it, and a lot of players got real about it. Colin Saunders was like, I'm going to hold my tongue. I haven't been here that long. James Hurst talked about it. Alvin Kamara talked about it. Guys that they're pretty articulate with their thoughts. So I thought the message from their customers and their fans certainly resonated inside that locker room. And if that's turned into a positive, then so be it. But we won't know until Sunday. Man, they got to get a win. They've got to get a win on Sunday.
And so I have final thoughts for you as we head in.
Let me hear it.
So the Saints lead this series all time 30-28. That's pretty close. In the Superdome, they lead the series 15-12. You know what that means? These two get together. What do you do, Sean?
Yeah, throw the records out the window.
And that's my thought. I mean, even if you can't take the Panthers lightly.
You cannot.
You cannot take the Panthers lightly. They are your rival. They know you better than anybody. So that is my 2 cents heading into this. And
it's never been an easy matchup for the Saints because these two teams know each other. And look, you won week 2, but you didn't win very impressively in week 2. Now, I would take an ugly win right now, given where you're at in the season.
Absolutely.
But point being, you're going to have to earn this one.
Yeah.
And I think everybody understands that. Well, I hope they understand that because there's no cakewalks in the NFL, and this team is in no position, absolutely no position to take any opponent lightly.
All right. You got any final thoughts?
I think we've got it all. I think we're pretty good. See you Friday.
All right. For Sean Fazende, I'm Vasilios. It's been the Fox at Overtime podcast. We'll see you guys next time.